Okay, so this is the next video in our continuation of our AWS series. And in this video, we will start looking about the new service. And the name of the new service is called the CloudFormation. So we'll see like what is the CloudFormation and when we have to use it. And we will see that in the like as an hands-on as well. So first see like what we have the CloudFormation and when we like have to use. So let's suppose you have to create any resource within the EC2. So how you can create it? So let's suppose if I give you the requirement to create the EC2 instance, just to spin up one EC2 instance or two EC2 instance or three EC2 instance. Let's suppose I give you a requirement to spin up or to create one create one EC2 instance, right? So what are the different ways? So one way is you will open the console and using the browser you will create the like EC2 instance with the properties which I mentioned. The other way is like you can create the instance using the AWS CLI command. So there are AWS CLI command which using that we can also create that. We have not covered this, but we can create that. All right, but there is a one more way. So like what are the disadvantage of these things? So like the disadvantage of this thing is so let's suppose I have a I want to create the EC2 instance in London region, in Ireland region, in US region, and in multiple regions with the same properties. So first I have to create the EC2 instance into the London region with the same properties. Then I have to change the region. Then I have to recreate the EC2 instance again with the same properties. Then in the US region, I have to spin up the EC2 instance with the same property. So every time I have to remember the property or I have to cross check, okay, which properties I have set. All right. So it is a basically time consuming task. Other thing is like if we have generally in project, we have three environments. One is the dev environment, one is the pre-prod environment, and one is the production environment. So basically there are three AWS accounts. So right now we are working only on one AWS account. So account number is like this. So now we have maybe we can create three AWS accounts using different IDs. So one we call as a dev, one we call as a pre-prod, one we call as a prod. So I told you to create the EC2 instance using the same properties into the dev, into the pre-prod and the prod. So again we have to follow all the manual steps. Whatever the step we followed in dev, the same steps we have to follow into the pre-prod and the same steps we have to follow into the prod. So to overcome this we have one service that is called as a CloudFormation. So in the CloudFormation, what we would do, so whatever we need, so let's suppose I need the EC2 and okay, so I need the EC2 instance and I know the properties, like what properties I need. So like let's suppose I need the t2.micro, I need that particular image ID, and I need this particular security group and so many things, right? So I can mention all those things into one template. Like I will create a one template and that template could be in the JSON format or it could be in the YAML format. So it's up to us whether we want to use a JSON format or whether we want to use the YAML format. So within that format, within the template, what I will do is I will mention all my what I want. So let's suppose I want one EC2 resource. So I will mention what one EC2 resource I want. So there is some particular syntax like in which we will mention. We will not mention into the pure English language. All right. So JSON is the key value pair and YAML is also the key value pair. But all right. So and whatever the properties we want, let's suppose I want the t2.micro. All right, so I can mention all the properties and I will just upload the template into the CloudFormation and will hit enter. At the back end, it will automatically read the template and it will create all the resources mentioned in the template for us. What are the advantages? So let's suppose I want to create the same EC2 instance in some another region. Then I don't need to remember the properties like which I have set. Now all the properties are set in my template. I can just go to that Ireland region and create the CloudFormation and upload the template. That's it. Even if I have to create the same EC2 instance in any different AWS accounts, so I have the template ready. I can upload that template and I can hit enter. Right. So this is the benefit for the CloudFormation. Okay. So CloudFormation is basically a declarative way. So we are declaring our things which we want in the AWS infrastructure. So we can create, like, let's suppose there are 1,000 resources, not even 1,000 resources. Let's suppose we have 200 services. So almost, not all, but almost like all the services is supported by the CloudFormation, but not all. Okay, so CloudFormation is basically a template, and in that template we mention okay what we want. Okay, so CloudFormation at the backend, CloudFormation create the resources for us. And the best thing is, so let's suppose there are so many resources, generally they depend on each other. So let's suppose if you are creating a load balancer, right, and the EC2, so there are interrelations. So first you have to create the EC2 and then you have to create the load balancer. But you don't need to worry about the even the sequence, but basically the order, whether I want to first create the load balancer or whether first I want to create the EC2. Whatever you want, just mention into the CloudFormation. CloudFormation automatically read the particular order. Any order you can mention, but automatically it will create for us. So we don't need to worry about the ordering as well. And we can define the template in two formats. One is the JSON format and one is the YAML format. Okay, so it is basically infrastructure as a code. So we are creating the infrastructure, that is the EC2 resources, S3 bucket, Lambda function. So we are creating the infrastructure, but as a code. So we are, whether it is JSON code or YAML code, so we are mentioning all our details as a code. So infrastructure as a code. Okay, so that's it. And there is a one this link which is very useful. Like when we create the template, so we can follow the particular link to understand like what could be the particular syntax. So if I open this link, so this is the particular link for the all the services. So if I have to create the EC2 instance, if I have to create the gateway flow log, anything like, so I can follow this document. So let's try. So if I search the CloudFormation, so you could see create and manage resources with the template. I just have to mention everything into the template, and the template will do like all the thing with the for us at the backend. So if I click on the CloudFormation, so model and provision are your cloud infrastructure. Okay, so here we have to create a stack. So stack is basically called a, you can say, the template. So create stack. We have three options. Template is ready, which means we have created the template locally, or use a sample template, or create template in designer. So generally most of the time we only use this option, because we want to create the template at our end, and so that whatever we want we can mention in the template. So template is ready, let's suppose. And where the template is ready, whether you have uploaded the template into the Amazon S3 bucket, or whether it is in your local. If it is in your local, then you can upload the template file. If it is in your Amazon S3, then you can use this option. So let's suppose first our requirement is to create the EC2 instance using the template. So we have to create the one template either into the JSON format or either into the YAML format. So I have created one template EC2 stack.yaml format. So we are following the YAML format. So for the time being, just ignore all the syntax. So we have to create one template with the either the JSON format or YAML format. So right now we are following the YAML format. Okay. And what I have to create? I have to create the EC2 instance. Okay. So within the template, there is some particular syntax, in which syntax we have to mention. It's very simple syntax. We don't even no need to learn all these things. So the first is resources, but all resources we want, whether we want only EC2 or whether we want EC2, S3, Lambda, security group, multiple resources. So we can, as the first key, we can mention the resources, and we can like hit the we can enter the colon. So we have to mention the resources and resources. Yeah, and we have to give the colon. As soon as we hit enter, automatically it will align for us, because it this is the JSON, this is the YAML, and it read I have the colon, so I have to like give some space, and automatically it come under the next line. Under the resources, what all resources I want to create, I have to mention that. All right. And for all the resources, mostly there are two things. First is the type, and one is the property. So type means what resource we want, whether I want the EC2 resource, whether I want the security group, whether I want the API gateway, whether I want the S3 bucket, whether I want the Lambda. So first is I want to mention, okay, what is the type? So I can't mention just EC2 or Lambda. There is some particular syntax. How I can know the syntax? So if you open this document, and in this document, so right now I have opened the AWS EC2 properties, right, for the CloudFormation, under the CloudFormation, AWS CloudFormation. So here you could see the type is AWS EC2 instance. So we can mention our template in two format. One is a JSON format. So there is a JSON format. You can use this format as well, or you can use the YAML format as well. So first option is we have to give the type. Type is AWS EC2 instance. We just copy it and pasted it here. And on the top of that, we have to mention anything like my instance or our instance or EC2 instance. Just give a common name for all these things. So a kind of a section, you can say, right? So I mentioned, okay, I am creating the EC2 instance. So it is not a keyword. It is just mention anything we can mention. Maybe I can mention EC2 instance. I can mention EC2 my instance. Anything I can mention, right? So I mentioned EC2 instance. After that, I told you we have mentioned two things. One is the type and then the properties. So type is EC2, and what is the syntax? AWS, then colon EC2 colon instance. So I just copied and then pasted here. Okay. After that, I have to mention the properties. Using which properties it has to create the EC2 instance, like whether it will create the T2.micro or T2.large, how it knows. So I have to mention all the configuration. So under the properties tab, I have to mention all the configuration. So when we create the EC2 instance, generally we mention a couple of configuration, and rest we leave default. So one is the availability zone. So how I know whether the Z is capital or not? So there are so many properties here. So you have to just come to this page and you have to search your property. So if you want the image ID, so let's suppose I want the availability zone. So what the spelling? So I want the availability zone. So I just copy here, and it is a string. I mention, okay, I want, so it is a zone, it is not a region, right? So that's why we have to mention whether it's A, B, C, right? So availability zone, okay, I want into the EU West 2. EU West 2 is basically a London region, and within the London region we have three zones. So whether you want into A or B or C, okay. Then image ID, and then the instance type. So as we are using the free tier, so if you go to the EC2 and open into a new tab, and instances, right now we don't have any instance. If we manually create the instance, first thing is we have to select the Amazon machine image ID. So for the free tier, we have this image ID, right? So just copy this image ID and mention here image ID. And then if you go to the next, so if I select this, and if I go to the next, then I have to select the instance type. And for the free, we have to select the T2.micro. So make sure you only select this image ID or that image ID which is under the free tier. and also only the t2.micro, because if you select any other instance type, then you have to pay. We are using the free tier, so better like use only that option. So I mentioned t2.micro. So all these properties are mentioned here. So instance type is mentioned here, right? And if you scroll next, so they have mentioned here what is the instance type. So we can like mention all these things, like whether a1.t2.la, t2.micro. So everything is like provided here. We have to just copy it and paste it into our template. So our template is ready. It's a very small template, but which will spin up only EC2 instance with these properties, and rest of the property it will use the default. Okay, so we will go to the stack, and we have the template in our local, so we will upload the template. So choose file, EC2 stack, open the template. Now you could see as soon as I open the template, it automatically give me some S3 URL, right? But I have not created any S3 bucket. If you see here, I don't have a, okay, so I have one bucket. So let me delete that. So you automatically it at 22:36 and time is like 22:37. Automatically it uploaded that, right, into our S. So at the back end, it automatically created the bucket. I don't need to manually upload it or create it. So at the back end, automatically it will create and upload our template, right? Okay, and we can also view this into the designer. If you click on view in designer, so in the designer you could see we have only one resource which we are going to create, that is the EC2 resource. Okay, so back. Okay, okay, I have to upload it again. Okay, then do next. Then I have to give the stack name. So let me give the stack name EC2 CloudFormation stack, right? And I have to give the next and give the tags. So it is not the mandatory, but it is only recommended. Okay, leave everything as is, and whatever the default option, just give next. And we have to create the stack. So as soon as I click on the create stack, you will see here under the EC2, because to the stacks, what we are saying, just spin up one EC2 instance. So right now we don't have an EC2 instance. So you will see the EC2 instance will be created. So I hit create stack. So this is the stack info, right? And under the events, you could see all the events which is happening at the back end. And under the resources tab, you will see which all resources it will create for us. Under the events, you will see a sequence of events which is happening at the back end. So all the events are created in progress. If I go to the EC2 instance and if I hit refresh, now you could see one instance automatically came here, which is t2.micro, and under the same region which I mentioned, AWS 2-way, and this is up and running. So resource has been created for us at the backend, and under the events, if I hit refresh, you could see first the template has been initialized and creating progress and the create complete. So everything is done for us. Okay, now let's suppose, so I can see my template here. If you click on the template, I can see my template here. Right, so whatever the template I have uploaded here, I can see. So you can upload here JSON template or the YAML template, it's up to you, right? But let's suppose now my requirement got changed. I want to create one EC2 instance, and I want to create one security group, and I want to attach the security group with the EC2 instance, because because when we create the EC2 instance, so we have one more option, that is to create the security group, because by default it will attach the default security group. So it has attached the by default security group. So this is the default security group. All right. So I want to attach my own security group with some port, maybe some SSH port 22 or maybe some HTTPS port. All right. So I want to update the particular template. All right. So we have one, I have written one more template. It is same thing under the resources, but two resources I want. So one is my EC2 instance resources, and one resource is security group. So how I know the syntax? All right. So if you go through this, and this is the EC2 instance properties, and you could find some security group option here as well. So here you could find AWS EC2 security group. So if you click here, you find the type is AWS EC2 security group. So we have to just copy from here and paste it here, and under the properties, what all properties we have, we can just copy from here and paste that. That's it. We don't need to remember all the things. So we have basically two resources. One is the EC2, and for this I have, for all this I have given one name, EC2 instance, and for all this I have given one name, that is SSH security group. Any name you can give, it is not a particular keyword. So any name you can give. I want EC2, same availability zone, same image ID, same t2.micro, but now with the EC2 instance I want to create, attach the security group. Which security group I want to attach? So I have created the security group. Once you created the security group, so let me show you. So if you go to the security groups, even if you manually create the security group, it will ask a couple of things. It will ask so if you try to create the security group, it will ask the group name, it will ask the group description. All right. It will ask you the inbound rule, it will ask you the outbound rules. So all these things it will ask. Same thing we have to mention here into the template. So group name, so let's suppose any group name, my security group. Group description, any name, like SSH security group for my EC2. Security group ingress. So how I know this field, what is the IP, what is the to port, what is the from port, what is the IP protocol. So I can found from all this here. So security ingress group, so everything we can found it from here. So everything is mentioned here. You could see security group, IP protocol, from port to port, CP, IP address. I just copy it here and paste it that here. All right. So now we have two options. So first, what it will do is, right now we don't have any security group. So let me go back. Right now we have the default security group. So what I want to do, trying to do with this template is, I want to create one security group. I want to create one EC2 instance, and I want to attach the particular EC2 instance with the security group. So I have mentioning the reference of that security group. So exclamation mark ref and the name of the security group. So that's it. So let's update my template. So update, use replace the current template, upload a file, choose file. So let me replace the template. If I open into the view in designer, so where it went, yeah. So now you could see in the designer, automatically it detect you have two resources. One is the EC2 instance, one is the SS security group, and it will automatically give the link to us. So it says, okay, this EC2 instance is linked with the SSH security group. So automatically it create a beautiful diagram for us. If you go back, so let me leave the website. So let me replace the current template. Let me upload it. Choose a file. Open. Next. Next. And leave everything as is. Next. And So it will show you a couple of things here, changes. What changes it will do at the backend? So at the backend, what it will do is it will create one EC2 instance. It will create one SSH security group. It will remove the existing EC2 instance as well, because now we are updating the template. So whatever the existing template it is, we don't need that template. So it will remove that EC2 instance and it will spin up like EC2 instance for us. So it will perform these three operations at the backend. So let's update the stack. So now under the events, you could see like all the and under the resources, you could see one EC2 instance, one the security group. So if I go to the, it automatically open in some different window. If I go here and if I refresh here, you could see one security group has been created. And if I go to the instances and if I hit refresh, so you could see one EC2 instance has been like started creating, right? But it is also running. It will also like get terminated very soon. We can monitor all the events. So okay, SSH security group has been completed. After that, it will like now EC2 instance is getting created. After that, the cleanup will be run. So now delete is in progress. That is the cleanup is in progress. So delete is in progress. So if I go back and go to the EC2 instance and if I do refresh, now it is shutting down my earlier EC2 instance, and after few couple of minutes, it will also get terminated. So everything it will do at the backend. So we don't need to manually create the resources. And if I have to create the same resource here in any account, I have the template ready. I will just create a stack and upload the template. That's it. I don't need to do anything. So update has been completed. So yeah, so everything has been, so under the events, we can see what events it has performed, because sometimes like it get failed, then we can see the reason as well. And under the resources, we can see what all resources it has created at the backend, right? Okay. So yeah, now you could see it is now terminated. And one more thing, let's suppose if I have to delete my EC2 instance, if I have to delete my uh, security group, so how I can do that? I don't need to go to manually to delete it. I will just delete the whole stack. So if I click on the stack and I would delete my stack. So if I delete my stack, automatically at the back end, you could see delete in progress. At the back end, it will delete my like security group. It will delete my EC2 instance. The security group already deleted. Not deleted. So let me show you. So if I refresh here, so now you could see EC2 instance is now shutting down. I have not manually shut down or terminated this EC2 instance, but I just delete my stack. And if I go to the security groups and if I refresh here, so this will also like went down because my EC2 instance is up and running. So first we have to terminate the EC2 instance, then we have to delete the security group. So automatically it we don't need to even remember the order. CloudFormation will do everything for us. It is, so now it's gone. If I go to the EC2 instance, it will also, it should be in the terminated status. So now we could see it is in the terminated status. So but for the S3, because S3 is not the part of the stack, it is just created at the back end, so we can delete it manually. So delete it, and because it is not the part of the template, it is just as a temporary purpose, it is creating at the back end automatically. So delete. Indeed. So that's it. So this is very useful when we generally in actual project, we never create the resources manually. We only create the resources using the CloudFormation or using the Terraform. So Terraform or the CloudFormation, we can use that. Terraform is basically a common tool. Terraform is also a template, so it is a common template which we can use on the AWS, Azure, GCP, anywhere. It is common, it is global. But CloudFormation is specifically for the AWS because this service is provided only to the AWS. Yes, using the CloudFormation template, we can't create the resources onto the GCP or the Azure. So that's why people like generally try to learn the Terraform rather than the CloudFormation, because Terraform is global. If we once learn the Terraform, we can spin up the resources onto the AWS as well, onto the GCP as well, anywhere, any cloud platform. But using the cloud formation, we can't create the resources on different platforms. We can create the resources only on the uh, AWS. But as the exam point of view, so they will ask the cloud formation because it is their internal service. And in the project you can use that. It's not hard and fast, you have to use the Terraform. If you are using only the Amazon, you can use the cloud formation. Okay, so we have clear everything. So is everything, yeah, cleared? So share now, yeah. So everything has been cleared. So that's it. That's the end of the video. Uh, Thank you.